Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final series and the match preview for the game between the Pies and the Crows. A few injury scares today at main training. We'll get into it. It's time to talk all things black and white. Finally, finals footy is literally upon us. When we went up against Adelaide and fell excruciatingly close to beating them on their home deck, the odds were stacked against us. Our backs were against the wall. Right after that game, we all came to the post-game show and said, we want this game back. Guys, we manifested it. We've now put it on the calendar. And we are nearly at that time and place to be and grace the position we asked to be in 2-3 weeks ago, wanting this game back. And now we've got it. And now we've got Jordan De Goey, who has hit a purple patch at the perfect time. You couldn't have asked for better timing. S&C, patience and performance, all of that has all just reached the pinnacle, reached the apex, and hopefully it can be a prolonged, sustained period of high performance from JDG in the finals period, along with his 1-2 dance partner in Nick Dacos. And we heard at the start of 2024, people were saying JDG and Nick Dacos could be the greatest 1-2 punch in the AFL. And while we've been deprived of that, thanks to the injuries that De Goey has had to deal with, I think maybe we get that rendition of De Goey and Dacos being one of the greatest or the greatest 1-2 punch in the league. Maybe we get that for the next 3 or 4 games. But it doesn't go without saying De Goey had a little injury scare, as well as Nick Dacos, as we're hearing from Xander Maguire tonight. They both sustained what seemed to be niggling ankle injuries at training. However, they both got through the session, and I'll tell you this for free, they will not be missing a qualifying final with a double chance going to Adelaide. They've worked so hard to get to this point. Nick has practically played injured the whole year. Geordie was comfortable playing injured at the start of the year. While he wasn't performing, he was putting his hand up. So you best believe they will take and do anything and everything to be there for the first bounce on Thursday night. So while it could be seen as fearmonger, look, I don't appreciate Xander Maguire highlighting at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday night that Nick Dacos sustained an ankle injury but got through training and then presents it on Fox Footy as or people who are interpreting it, suggesting that Nick Dacos is now under an injury cloud 48 hours before the game. I don't appreciate that from someone who has grown up inside the 4 walls of the black and white. I can accept the potential leak of Mason Cox playing instead of Dan McStay. I'm relatively okay with that, being that is the game that the journos live in. But I don't know where I sit with, or I do know where I sit with, and I think that's poor from someone who bleeds black and white, Xander, and is willing to get clicks and point out. He was probably one of the only people who noticed it at training that Nick hurt himself, and he pointed it out and raised it to the public eye. Anyways, at the end of the day, Nick's going to play. It's just unneeded added exposure, or added pressure, or added spotlight to someone like Nick Dacos, who's clearly played injured for the most part of the year, and he's still top 3 Brownlow contention. He's still a chance to be a 2-time premiership player at the age of 22. He is still the players MVP of 2025. And if there's an omen to go with that, it's the fact that in 1990, that was Darren Mullane, and in 2010, that was Dan Swan. And both those years, guess what? We won a flag. So take that as a good omen going into it. We've heard and we've spoken about the Mason Cox discussion at length. It's his opportunity. Just one mark, my friend. Just one mark. Just one goal celebration. Get into the chest of the opposition. Fire us up at home, brother. It's time, man. It's time. Bo's going to be playing. We've been saying this week we need three of the four potential pressure forwards playing, and we got three of them. We got Bo, we got Lockie, we got Jamie. The one that's missing is Bobby, who has found the commitment. We know that's a player who we're not holding our breath on right now, so that's okay. That's hardly a conversation at this point. The expectation is just not there, and we can revisit that when he is up for serious consideration. This game, although the ladder position is different, this is eerily similar to that 2020 elimination final against the West Coast Eagles. Teams aren't giving us as much as a chance, although I will admit that I think we are being given more of a chance this game going into Adelaide than we were against West Coast, but we'll put it in the same pool. We'll put it in the same body, okay? Guess who got coaches' votes that game against West Coast? Mason Cox. Guess who the highest rated player for that game was against West Coast? Jordan De Goey. So you got two players who are, well, one of them who's re-emerging as a player who's back in his prime in Geordie, and you got someone like Mason Cox who just needs a moment. And whenever he plays at AFL level in 2025, he hasn't quite had that moment. Can it be now? It's a risk. It's a calculated risk. I think we're going to go in relatively unchanged, barring Jeremy Howe in for Will Parker. I think it's a risk we can take now that I'm looking at it. And I'll admit, Sunday night when we first raised the idea of Mason Cox playing in the finals, I wasn't on board. I thought it was unanimous. I learned that it was 60-40 on Sunday. I learned that it was 50-50, maybe 60-40. 60-40 Sunday, Cox won't play, according to how you guys felt. Monday, it was like 50-50. And then yesterday it was 60-40. Cox should play. And today, we get the news that Mason probably will play against the Crows. So, there you go. How quickly a couple of days can change, which is it's important to be open-minded. And as sure as I was on Sunday, here we are on Tuesday talking about Mason Cox playing, most likely playing against the Crows. So, that's a learning in that one for anyone who thought Mason Cox wasn't going to play, including myself. And I think Mason Cox is an important piece to it all when it comes to facing Thilthorpe in the ruck as a second ruckman, because Thilthorpe as a second ruckman is a beast. He does what he does as a forward, but he's a commodity in the ruck as a backup ruck. Could probably play as a main ruckman over Riley O'Brien if he wasn't so damn good in the forward line. So Billy Frampton will have an assignment there to uphold his end. And system is important, but there's going to be times where Billy Frampton's going to be on an island with Thilthorpe, and when he has been on an island with these players in the two recent meetings, he's done quite well. But can we find a floating, intercepting Darcy Moore to alleviate that pressure of Billy Frampton at times? I'd like to see that. Darcy Moore had, 7 touches and 2 intercept positions at Melbourne. He just has to be better. You guys might say, those are just the numbers. Well, to me, that's just not enough. And I want to see that Darcy Moore that we saw after King's birthday for 6 weeks. It's time. So that's pretty much all we have for you guys tonight. Tomorrow we'll have Moving the Magnets. Team announcements at 6:20. Live stream will go live at 5:30. So see you all then. And by the way, if you're new, welcome. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing, leave a like. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Pies.